Okay, so we're going to talk more about the general form for a quadratic equation. Sometimes they just call it a quadratic. It's a little bit, I guess, an abbreviation of sorts. Okay, so the general form is you have a function, and it equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Now, we talked about that being somewhat a familiar form. So I'm going to jump down here and talk about zeros. If you want to find the zero of a quadratic function, well then you're going to set the quadratic function equal to 0. That's going to be how you find the zeros. And we've done that before. Now, if I'm trying to find zeros, I would first try factoring. Sometimes they factor, sometimes they don't. If it doesn't factor, then I'm going to go to the quadratic formula. And that says x equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right? So you can do that. If they want to know the zeros and it's in general form, that's how it works. Okay. Remember, the quadratic formula only applies when you're solving, when you have your function, your quadratic function equal to 0. Or equal to something else, but you could always change it to equal to 0. Okay. So I skipped over the axis of symmetry because I want you to think about a parabola. Something like that. And the axis of symmetry is going to go through that bottom point, or if it's upside down, the top point. Okay. Through the vertex. So that's when you're not getting the plus or minus thing happening. Well, that's when this part equals 0. Okay, we talked about that when we talked about discriminants. Okay, so you're only getting one output because the radical part, the radicand, is 0. Okay, what that means then, that's going to be that point there. It means the axis of symmetry is x equals the opposite of b over 2a. So if they want you to find the axis of symmetry and they give it to you in a general form, you can just find it by doing that part, the opposite of b over 2a. So we have methods when we're given the general form to find the axis of symmetry and zeros. So it's useful for those things.